I wanted to add an extra element to the concept of finding the peace inside of you by embracing solitude. Because what I talked about before was very much from a sort of an egocentrical point of view. And there is an element to this which is far, far broader than that. So I found myself another slightly different but equally magnificent and vast solitudinous environment. So the thing is this, okay, there is an element of peace that can be found from communion with what I can best describe as oneness. Now, some people might want to call that source. Some people might want to call that their God. Some people want to call that embracing the universe. But there is an element by which, rather than being in a dualistic world where you see yourself and other, you come to see your part in everything, because you are an extension of that everything rather than an entity in yourself. And suddenly you find yourself at one with all things. One of the ways that I do this, I don't know if you've watched any of my hypnotic inductions, I mentioned this a couple of times, is this idea of you follow your breathing, taking a beautiful deep breath, exhale, taking a beautiful deep breath, exhale. And as you start to follow your breath, instead of following your breath, you follow the breath that the universe is exhaling. And so as the universe exhales, that air is going inside your lungs. And as the universe inhales, you are effectively breathing out. And you and the universe are in harmony. By being an extension of the universe, you find peace inside of yourself because, well, it forces you to question those existential questions in a new light. Like suddenly, what is birth and death? Because we're just talking about a transition of energy, transition of particles, a transition of chemical reactions from one state to another. And what are we within that except an expression of all things? And suddenly we are at one with all things. Something tremendously peaceful about that, something tremendously stable. And what I've discovered, to give you the punchline finally, is that when you're silent, when you're completely and utterly silent, that's when you commune with all of that. When you hand over, when you stop being inside your head, when you stop the mental chatter, and you're just here, you're just being. There's no goal, there's no future or past in your mind. There's perhaps a perspective, but everything is what it is, and you're silent within that. Well, then somehow the peace inside of you, wherever it may be, is an extension of the peace and the tranquility of an element of the universe, alongside another element of the universe that is vastly powerful, vastly expanding, vastly explosive, filled with awe and wonder. And somehow all of that resonates. And so from that, peace is kind of coming from a curious kind of existential oneness, communion with source, communion with all things. It's sort of a religious experience, even though I don't particularly subscribe to the idea of religion under our concept. I think this is something which is so vast, it goes beyond words even. It goes beyond concepts. It certainly goes beyond the idea that that this can be dictated and written down from a pontificating position of higher understanding, let's say. But there is something tremendously unifying about that, which brings about, well, for me anyway, a sense of my place in the grand order of things, a complete relinquishing of the ego, a complete simplicity in life. Yeah, life becomes simpler. It's a little bit like sitting out and staring at the vastness of the ocean and considering how meaningless you are. But that somehow you and it are related in ways that you don't really understand. But there's a beauty in there. There is an extraordinary beauty to all things. And finding the silence inside of you is the gateway to that. It's the gateway to opening your heart, your mind, your chest, your whole organism to everything. Something beautiful about handing over to the rhythm of nature, to the rhythm of life, to things that are far too complicated and so awe-inspiring and extraordinary that they kind of defy belief. Yeah. Peace is a funny thing because it comes and goes, right? You can have this tremendous sense of peace, it's tremendous, awe-inspiring wonderment. And then the next minute, the world comes flooding back into your brain, noisy or fearful. Strange chemical imbalances dragging you off course. But even if you're not here, even if you're not in this beautiful environment, just with your imagination, you can transport yourself back to a peaceful place. Okay, I hope that's of interest. A bit more to contemplate the broader perspective of peace, let's say. All right, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.